Hello everyone, my name is Barbara Armstrong. I want to welcome you to this trade management mini session. Today we are going to be talking about the MarketWatch tab on thinkorswim. When I first found this world of investing and trading back in 2011, there was a coach who often talked about how many stocks in the S&P were up or down in a particular day. And I was always so impressed by that and wondered where he got his information. Turns out it's only a couple of clicks away on the MarketWatch tab. So I'm going to share that and a bunch of other things with you on the MarketWatch tab today. So I'm glad that you are here for this. Just a quick reminder before we go over to the MarketWatch tab that we are using the paper money software application on the thinkorswim desktop platform. We are also going to look at a lot of ticker symbols today, but know that everything we're discussing here is just for general information purposes only, none of it to be construed as a recommendation or personal investment advice. Okay, so let's bring up our MarketWatch tab. And to find this on the thinkorswim platform, we are simply going to go to this MarketWatch tab, and then we're going to go to visualize, and then under visualization we're choosing heat map. Now what I have up here is the S&P 500, but you can bring up any number of watch lists. In fact, if you have a personal watch list, you could bring that up as well. But if we look at the S&P, which is made up of 500 stocks, you can see here, so there's a slightly wider white band around each sector, but we can see here that all sectors are not created equal on the S&P 500. Technology is by far the biggest sector, and then we have financials, we've got communication services, then consumer discretionary, healthcare, industrials, and so forth. You know, staples, a bit smaller, then energy, where we're seeing a lot of pink today, which means a lot of the energy stocks are down today. And then the smallest three sectors are utilities, materials, and real estate. So there's our 11 sectors. And one thing about this visualize tab is that color matters. So what do I mean by that? And also size matters. So if we look at Apple, it's a much bigger box than Micron because it's a much bigger company. We can see the market cap here at 4+ trillion is much bigger than Micron's 596 billion. And so each box shows you the size of the market cap and really its influence on this index overall, the S&P 500. Also, with respect to color, if we hover over Oracle, it's a really dark green. So it's up 7%, 7.7% today. If we look at Apple, it's a slightly less dark green, up 4%. And then if we come to NVIDIA, which is more gray than either green or red, it's not up much at all. You know, it's up 0.36%. Google's the same. It's kind of treading water today. And then if we look at, you know, the pink and red, Amgen is a darker colored box today, and that's down 5% more than, say, ExxonMobil, which is a lighter shade, a paler shade of red, and down 1%. So we can get a lot of information kind of at a glance. Now, if we want, you know, another visual way of looking at this, and the coach I so admired, you know, back in the day, he would just come here. And, you know, and so we have our index watch is our visualization, and we've put in a watch list, the S&P 500. So we have 208 stocks up today, 289 down. And then if I hover over a candle, we can see you know, and it's somehow started at the bottom. Let me just draw your attention here with my drawing tool. So what we can see here is that if I hover over a candle and then look here, it will give me information on the stock, and then whatever the stock is, it will highlight that. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be highlighting Cisco, but if we're kind of looking for an idea of, okay, what stocks are really moving to the upside today, I could come over here and we see CBOE is up 8%. And then on the downside, we have Clorox down 9.2%. And, we can just scroll down and click. And when we hover over a candle, then in this box down here, it will give us the detail. Datadog up 7%. First Solar up 5.89. Oracle up 7.71. And so it's just another way of accessing information in a quick way. And then, we could bring up the Dow or, the NASDAQ. So Dow Jones, 30 stocks. Biggest winner today, Apple, close behind, CRM up 3.8, Apple up 4.03, Amgen getting hit, down 5.59. So it's pretty easy to see, who are the winners and losers on the day. Okay, so there's one other area that I wanted to show you on the MarketWatch tab today, and that is this economic calendar. So we're going to come over to the calendar, and I think the default is to show all, and it makes it a pretty busy chart. We're in the throes of earnings season, so we can see stock splits that are coming up. We can see, Econo Day data. We can see conference calls, dividends coming up. But if we wanted to see just earnings, we could just highlight earnings, and then we'll see that today being May 1st, you can see who came with earnings today. And then in addition to that, like if we click on CVX, we can see that stands for Chevron, that earnings was in fact this morning. And then if we wanted to read the press release on that earnings report, there's a little button, click here. We can click that and we can get the detail. Same, like here's Estee Lauder came with earnings this morning, Lind. So, a lot of information at our fingertips. And if you said, well, I've already done what I needed to today, I want to see what's coming on Monday. Well, we're not going to have the press releases available because, the earnings hasn't been announced, but we can see who is going to come with earnings on Monday. So we've got, Norwegian Cruise Lines, etc. So I hope you have found these tips helpful and informative. I thank you for joining me today. Keep in mind, there are lots of short videos coming your way with more tips on how to access and things that you may want to access on the thinkorswim platform. So stay tuned. Thanks. Bye for now.